You're watching a special edition of Newsnight where we go above and beyond headlines. I'm Pia Ontiveros. The Filipino vote is becoming much clearer a day after yet another historic election. It was the first to be held under the shadow of a pandemic. The Commission on Elections says at least 80.38% of over 65 million registered voters showed up and cast their ballots. That's just shy of the record 81% in 2016. Based on the partial and unofficial tally from the COMELEC's transparency server, the son and namesake of the late former dictator Ferdinand Marcos has a huge lead over Vice President Leni Robredo. At least 4 other presidential candidates, Ping Lacson, Isko Moreno, Leody de Guzman, and Faisal Mangundato, have conceded defeat. Now here are the numbers as of just a few minutes ago. I'm going to look at them now. As of 5:32 p.m., Marcos has 31,021,353 votes. Leni Robredo trailing behind 14,785,073 votes. Manny Pacquiao, 3,624,946. Isko Moreno, 1,885,363. Ping Lacson, 880,479. They're followed by Faisal Mangundato, Ernie Abella, Leody de Guzman, Norberto Gonzalez, and Jose Montemayor. In the vice presidential race, it is still Sara Duterte in the lead with over 30 million votes, 31,466,425 votes. Kiko Pangilinan, 9,209,165 votes. Tito Soto, 8,170,513 votes. They're followed by Doc Willie Ong, Lito Atienza, Manny Lopez, Walden Bello, Carlos Serapio, and Lito David. In the senatorial race, Robin Padilla is still number 1 with 26,367,292 votes. Lauren Legarda, 23,923,780 votes. Rafi Tulfo, 23,109,734. They're followed by Win Gatchalian, who is in 4th place, Cheese Escudero in 5th place, Mark Villar in 6th place, and then we have Alan Cayetano, Mig Zubiri, Joel Villanueva, JV Ejercito Estrada, Risa Ontiveros, and Jingoy Estrada. In the 13th spot is George Pinay, number 14, Herbert Bautista, and Gibo Teodoro is at the number 15th spot. They're followed by Eliazar, Roque, Onasan, Diokno, and Gadon. Now, from his apparent victory to a sure win, the Commission on Elections en banc has dismissed the bid of petitioners to reverse the junking of 4 cases against Marcos's presidential candidacy. Benisa Lopez also tells us poll officials deny accusations of electoral fraud as clear winners emerge in the partial and unofficial count.
The unity tandem of Bongbong Marcos and Sara Duterte on track to clinch decisive victories in the latest partial unofficial tally from Comelec's transparency server, while opposition bets Leni Robredo and Kiko Pangilinan trailing at a far second. Their sizable leads have been consistent since election results started trickling in Monday night. Some speculate the seemingly consistent distance among contenders, which went on until over 98% of precincts have sent in their tallies. Comelec says there's no such thing.
Wala po tayong sinasabi na nagkaroon ng dayaan dito na ito yung lead mo. Walang ganon. If you still insist, we can still check the election returns. We can do our own quick count.
Elections technology provider Smartmatic adds, there is no fixed pattern set in the machines, and the trend is usually maintained after a large number of votes are counted. Another commissioner says the random manual audit of ballots will satisfy doubts about the integrity of the polls.
We will look at the records and we will find out kung ano talaga yung totoong count, because there are still doubts. We know that there are still doubts, and we are here to prove and to erase those doubts.
Marcos also cornered another victory on Tuesday. The Comelec en banc was unanimous in rejecting 4 appeals to overturn an earlier ruling to take him out of the presidential race over his previous tax convictions. Petitioners say they will make a final appeal before the Supreme Court. 2 other cases against Bongbong remain under appeal at the Comelec. Comelec considers the May 9 poll successful, pleased with the record voter turnout across the board and the seamless transmission of votes. Commissioner Marlon Casquero says less than 1,000 precincts dealt with faulty machines and are unlikely to alter overall results.
If you try to compute 915 VCM malfunctions, if you try to add it or multiply it by, let us say, average of 500 per registered voters, malit lang yun as compared to the total number of 64 million plus registered voters.
Hundreds of towns and cities have already proclaimed winners in the local race, while canvassing is ongoing at the provincial levels. COMELEC hopes to start its own official count for Senate and party list candidates and proclaim winners in the next few days. Melissa Lopez, CNN Philippines.
Let's now head on over to the headquarters of the clear frontrunner in this presidential race, that HQ in Mandaluyong City. Our Rex and me joining us live. Rex, with this huge lead, why is Marcos not yet claiming victory?
What happened in the 2016 vice presidential elections has to do with how they see things now. Marcos was leading by a smaller margin by then when suddenly Robredo overtook him in the race. They have been insisting he was cheated, which led to his electoral protest that lasted for 5 years. Critics have been pointing out, however, to the Supreme Court junking his poll protest. The Marcos camp wants to be more sure this time. That's why they're urging supporters to be more vigilant since the official canvassing has yet to start.
Hindi pa tapos ang bilangan. Marami nang nagsasabi na tapos na, pero hindi pa talaga. Antayin natin hanggang talagang maliwanag, mag 100% ang pagbilang. Hanggat tayo ay mag-celebrate o mag-isip na tapos na.
The Marcos camp isn't saying where he is right now or what his plans are. Until now, we're just here outside of his campaign headquarters. We're waiting for possible press conferences by his lawyer, Vic Rodriguez, if not by Marcos himself. The media is also prohibited to roam around the headquarters as well as the supporters. They're limited to just staying outside the campaign headquarters beside the southbound lane of EDSA. Some supporters are urging motorists to show support by honking their horns. Others are dancing and singing songs related to the Marcos campaign, like the OPM classic Umagang Kay Ganda, which is often played right before Marcos speaks in campaign rallies, or Ang Bagong Lipunan, which is the anthem of the martial law era. We spoke to some supporters of BBM who went here. Some are loyalists since his father's regime. Others, meanwhile, were once anti-Marcos. One said she was enlightened through modern sources of information.
Sinabi naman ng mga professor ko, hindi naman totoo. Kasi wala naman nagpapatunayan na guilty si Marcos, di ba? Siyempre, nag-research ako sa YouTube.
Huwag niyo sasabihin na magnanako ang Marcos. Kasi ang Marcos maraming pera mula noon.
Critics have been pointing out there are court decisions that prove otherwise. The camp, meanwhile, welcomes the COMELEC and Bank's decision to dismiss all motions for reconsideration on the disqualification cases against Marcos. Rodriguez says they always believe the poll body will stay true to its mandate. For the anti-BBM parties, meanwhile, they will not give up until they exhaust all legal means. Back to you, Pia.
Rex and Mito there reporting from the Marcos headquarters in Mandaluyong. Now on to Naga in Camarines Sur. Vice President Nenny Robredo issues a reminder to supporters. Our senior correspondent Anjo Rimari joins us on the phone. Anjo, what did Robredo say? Has she conceded?
Hi Pia, we're here at Naga Metropolitan Cathedral where Vice President Nenny Robredo is attending misa para sa pagkakaisa at pasasalamat. This is her way of thanking her fellow Bicolanos who stood by her, although there is frustration, obviously, that another Bicolana failed to clinch the presidency. And around 2 in the morning today, Robredo faced the media to address her supporters. It's not a categorical concession speech, but she asked supporters to respect the voice of the people.
Bagaman may mga tanong paukol sa eleksyon na ito na kailangan matugunan, palinaw na ng palinaw ang tinig ng taong bayan. Sa ngalan ng Pilipinas na alam kong mahal na mahal rin ninyo, kailangan nating pakinggan ang tinig na ito dahil sa huli, iisa lang ang bayang pinagsasaluhan natin.
Speech from her home in Magarao with her 3 daughters, Aika, Trisha, and Jillian by her side. She did recognize, however, the reported irregularities that happened during yesterday's polls. She reminded supporters that not all is lost because the campaign has given birth to to a volunteer-driven movement to remove an old and rotten political system. In her own words, hindi pa tayo tapos, nagsisimula pa lang tayo. Robredo asked her supporters to remain active in their communities and stand up for the truth, given the chance to fight lies and disinformation. Now, in a new statement issued by Robredo today, she says they're currently consulting with experts to study the allegations being spread on social media thoroughly, and once done, they will share the results to the public. And as of now, the match still going, and we're expecting Robredo to address her supporters. We don't know yet if it's going to happen inside or outside the church. And meanwhile, there's a separate pasasalamat for her supporters in Metro Manila on the 13th. Yeah.
Johnny Mani there reporting from Naga in Camarines Sur. Now, voters endured hours of waiting in various polling centers in the country yesterday because of defective vote counting machines and corrupted SD cards. As Tristan Nadal reports, the situation even led to heated confrontations.
Sandali lang po! Kami naman! Kami po! Saglit, sir! Sir, saglit! Sir, nagagalit kayo na galit kami. Kanina pa nag-aantay yung mga tao. Yung Comelec ang gusto namin magsalita. Hindi kayo!
Tired and frustrated, voters at Teachers Village East Polling Center in Quezon City fight until the last minute to make sure their votes are counted. Desperate for answers, voters confronted election officials an hour before the closing of the polls. The problem started when 2 out of 3 vote counting machines or VCM malfunctioned at the start of the voting period. After technicians reportedly fixed the machines, the next problem cropped up: corrupted SD cards. And the replacements did not arrive until the closing of the polls. Voters Maya Dapul and Jolo lined up as early as 6 a.m. to vote.
I've been here since 6 a.m. We were one of the first few people here to vote po. And from that point, wala na yung SD card. We didn't want to leave our votes. We wanted to get our votes counted.
Medyo magulo kasi syempre ang gusto namin, kami po yung mag-submit sa boto namin.
Left with no choice, some voters resorted to manual voting and entrusted their ballots to election officers. Others refused to back down and vowed that they will wait until the VCMs work again.
So wala pong reason para huminto ang botohan, magka-issue man po sa VCM.
We have watchers in place at doon po naman sa hindi makapag-feed ng balota, meron po tayong watchers. Nandiyan po ang PPCRD, wag po kayong matakot.
VCM glitches have been recorded in a number of voting centers in Quezon City, home to 1.4 million voters. A VCM in Magat Salamat Elementary School in Manila also malfunctioned, forcing voters to leave their ballots to election personnel. The Comelec vows this will be the last time VCMs will be used in nationwide polls.
Sa tingin ko, ito na yung last dance ng ating vote counting machines. Hindi na natin gagamitin ito in 2025 elections. Kahit sabihin na konti lang yung budget na ibigay for 2025, but we will insist that we will not use anymore these vote counting machines for the succeeding elections.
Tristan Rodalo, CNN Philippines.
Our special coverage continues. 4 presidential candidates have conceded defeat, but one of them calls on the Comelec to explain alleged poll irregularities. And we'll take you to Ilocos Norte, home province of Bongbong Marcos, where 3 other Marcoses have won local races. You're watching a special edition of Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
Exodo, Kabanata 18, versikulo 21. Ngunit pumili ka ng mga taong may kakayahan, may takot sa Diyos, mapagkakatiwalaan, at di masusuhulan. Gawin mo silang tagapangasiwa sa libo-libo, daan-daan, 5-50 at 10-10. Ang mabuting balita ay hatid sa inyo ng MX3. LG OLED Evo, self-lit pixels, delivers deep black and true-to-life colors. Light up your world with the best TV technology in this era. LG OLED Evo.
Got it. My most precious jewel, Ruby. Marry me.
Poor eyesight can ruin your love story. Come to EO Executive Optical for state-of-the-art facilities, expert eye care, affordable eyewear.
Wow, Ruby!
EO, love your eyes.
Now it's time to live the nightlife. Let's have San Nick Night with the sun out. Any hour is now happy hour. Ang katapusan ng bawat kwento, may inuumpisa ang bago. Get into the nightlife. San Nick Night.
Welcome back. A parallel and unofficial vote count is underway, led by the Commission on Elections Accredited Citizens Arm, the Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting, or PPCRV. AC Nichols joins us live from its command center at the University of Santo Tomas in Manila. AC, how many election returns has the PPCRV encoded so far?
Yes, Pia, the PPCRV as of this afternoon has received over 4,000 election returns or ERs coming mostly from NCR cities including Manila, Makati, Mandaluyong, and Pasay. And earlier today we were told that over 2,000 ERs have been manually encoded so far. Now the group is expecting more election returns to be brought here at the command center today from a number of places, including Cavite, Rizal, and Batangas. And we were told that there is a bit of delay in the transport of election returns as PPCRV volunteers are consolidating them first by parish before turning them over here at the command center. In some precincts, there was another issue. The electoral board also refused to give the PPCRV the fourth copy of election returns, but PPCRV officials said that these incidents are isolated and easily resolved.
We have an open line with the COMELEC and we asked them for help. Kasi ang nangyari was just miscommunication. Okay, most of the teachers, they were confused kung kanino ibibigay yung fourth copy because the general instructions says that the fourth copy will be given to the accredited citizens arm. It did not say PPCRV. But nothing that, na-explain naman sa kanila.
The manual audit is done 24/7, no shortage in volunteers. Pia, we are seeing long lines of people waiting for their turn to man the computers. PPCRV says no discrepancy noted so far, just mismatching figures between encoders. And they said this happens sometimes since the ERs pass through two encoders and a final check before data is finally archived. Officials said the manual audit may take 10 days to finish. In 2019, the PPCRV manually encoded around 70% of all election returns with a 99% accuracy. Pia?
Yeah, I see. Let's make this very clear now. So what's happening is that PPCRV has two copies of the election return, the digital transmission copy, and what you were describing just a while ago, the manual copy of the hard copy ng fourth copy ng ER. So what you were describing a while ago is the process for the manual encoding, but there is a parallel count, quick count that is going on, right? Because pumapasok sa server ng PPCRV ang resulta, yung digital transmission copy, correct?
That's right, Pia. The PPCRV is also expecting to finish their quick count today, no? Because that would mean a 100% transmission of votes through the transparency server. That's where they base the figures that they're flashing on the big screen behind me. Right now, it's at over 97% already. So, officials are saying most likely matatapos na rin today, aabot na ng 100%, Pia.
When you say today, like early tonight or late tonight, but we are sure that it will be ngayong gabi.
They said earlier today na most likely before the day ends, no? So they can't give us an exact time. They're still waiting for some precincts to transmit the votes digitally. Yun na lang ang hinihintay talaga, either from far-flung communities, island communities, or from the precincts na nasiraan ng VCMs yesterday. Yeah.
Okay, and itong 97% ng ERs na pasok na dito sa quick count nila, yung transmission, can you tell us the leading candidate and gaano kalaki ang lamang niya sa pumapangalawa?
Well, so far, Pia, sorry, the numbers are a little bit small, no? But let me look at the screen right now. Bongbong Marcos is still in the lead. My last check with 30 million votes, and then followed by VP Robredo. Practically unchanged na from the numbers from last night. I mean, from the lead from last night. And in the VP race, Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte is in the lead with over 31 million votes. Malaki ang lamang niya dun sa second with Senator Francis Pangilinan with 9.2 million votes. For the senatorial race, actor Robin Padilla retains his lead. He's still top one.
Alright, maraming salamat. AC Nichols reporting there from PPCRB's command center in UST Manila. Another son of Ilocos is poised to become the next president of the Philippines, while his relatives have been declared winners in the local polls. Lois Calderon joins us live from the city of Lawag in Ilocos Norte. Lois, what is the mood like there after Bongbong Marcos posted a wide lead over his rivals in the presidential race?
Here, the streets of Ilocos Norte are generally quiet from the town of Bata to the provincial capital of Lawag. There are no fireworks, no signs of revelry cheering Bongbong Marcos' early victory. The son of Ilocos or Ilocania is poised to become the second Ilocano to become Philippine president, while his family strengthens his foothold on Ilocania, even in territories formerly ruled by the Fariñas dynasty. The cheers, the applauses, the chants are contained within the halls of the provincial capital. For now, as the Provincial Board of Canvassers declares 3 members of the Marcos clan as winners in the local polls. Bongbong Marcos' son, Sandro, leads the Fariñas for a congressional seat. Jaime Marcos' son, Matthew Manotoc, was re-elected as governor. Another Marcos, Cecilia Araneta Marcos, is his vice governor. Cecilia is the widow of a cousin of Bongbong Marcos. Sandro is just in his late 20s, entering Congress much sooner than his late grandfather, former President Ferdinand Marcos, who was a statesman. We asked him if he will stay in Malacanang as a first son or live elsewhere as a congressman.
I am a neophyte. There are much better, much more well-equipped congressmen. If I am offered a position that I think I am capable of doing, of course I will accept it. Marami pa rin kailangan na tignan, and I still have much to learn compared sa mga ibang tao dyan na matagal na sila dun and they know the inner workings of the house. My work will be in Batasan, which is in Manila, but I will try to come back here as much as I can. As for living in Malacanang, I think that's a conversation to be had with my father. But if you ask me, I'd prefer to live by myself.
The Marcos clan has yet to set a date for a victory party, according to Ilocos Norte Governor Matthew Marcos Manotoc. We also spoke to some of the supporters of the Marcoses in the province.
Wala pa pong plano. Maybe we'll just join BBM in Manila. Tignan po natin. Our family, hindi kami masyadong mahilig sa mga parties.
Very, very happy because the Marcoses nanalo lahat dito sa Ilocos.
Very proud kami na from Ilocos Norte ang magiging next president.
The chatter among Ilocanos here is that it's okay to be modest in the celebration. What matters to them most is that another son of Ilocandia will become or will lead the country again, deliver the jobs promised, make food and taxes cheaper, and get them out of poverty. Back to you, Pia.
Boys Calderon, they're reporting from Lawag City in Ilocos Norte. Well, it was a different scene over the COMELEC's headquarters in Manila. Groups of protesters trooped there as they accused the poll body of committing electoral fraud in favor of Marcos. Stanley Cajeta gives us a look.
These are some of the cries in the protests held right after the election. Various groups converged in Intramuros, Manila to question the results of the May 9 polls a day after votes were cast. They want answers on issues and problems encountered Monday. More than 500 participants from different progressive organizations marched to Liwasang Bonifacio Tuesday noon. They asked, how come a candidate who did not participate in presidential debates and forums, who did not provide clear plans for the country, immediately won hands down?
Marami hindi gusto ang kasalukuyang kalakaran. Napakabulok, napakamadumi ng sistema natin sa halalan. Kaya sila nagpo-protesta ngayon, kaya sila nagpapahayag. Dahil hindi katanggap-tanggap itong mga nangyari itong nakaraang araw. Ang bayan!
Youth participants who comprise the biggest number of voters in this year's presidential elections, with almost 24 million of them registered, were wondering how it happened, given that there were complaints on malfunctioning vote counting machines and SD cards.
Pagbubukas pa lamang ng halalan 2022, that sana po sa aming hotline ang mga reklamo ng iba't ibang aberya at pandaraya. Marami po sa amin ang bahagi ng mga sa porsyento ng first-time voters at marami po sa mga kabataan na napagkaitan ng kanilang karapatan na bumoto at maghalal ng nararapat na kandidato.
They were asking about the lack of variability of election results, considering that different areas have different numbers of voters.
Gabi pa lamang po bago ang halalan ay nagsaganda na ang pumasok sa amin na report ng vote buying, illegal campaigning at iba't iba pang forma ng pandaraya.
Bongbong Marcos gained more than 30 million votes based on partial and official results. The protesters asked, how could a family who looted the country with billions of dollars and allegedly tortured and killed thousands return to power that easy?
Magtuloy ito ang mga protesta dahil nga hindi na natugunan ng pamahalaan yung fundamental na kahilingan ng tao. Gusto nila malinis sa halalan, gusto nila maayos sa halalan.
Stanley Cajeta, CNN Philippines.
For the Philippine National Police, the elections were the most peaceful in recent years despite recording a number of deaths from poll-related violence. Bolívar Versosa has the details.
The Philippine National Police has recorded 16 election-related violence in the 2022 national and local elections, 6 of which are shootings, which resulted in 3 deaths, 2 in Region 9 and 1 in Cordillera. Despite this, the PNP says this year's electoral process was generally peaceful.
Comparing the 2016 and 2022 national and local election, napakababa po. Sobrang laki po ang ibinaba ng 2022 NLE. Unlike in 2016 national and local election, we were able to note 133 incidents and 71 of which, or 61 of which, are from the shooting incident.
The situation across the country likewise remains peaceful as the PNP, AFP, and Coast Guard wrap up their security operations at polling precincts. Danao meanwhile calls on opposing candidates to exercise sobriety. He also reminds his supporters to practice prudence when conducting post-election rallies.
Dapat po siguro, instead of igniting others to really join rallies, let us accept na lang po siguro and let the mandate of the Filipino people prevail. When we are expressing one's opinion, karapatan po natin lahat yan even I siguro. Pero siguro let us put it in a proper perspective and do it in a proper place. We have our own freedom parks. Pwede po kayo magmura doon ng isang taon, wala pong bawal dyan. As long as you will not hamper the traffic, wala pong problema.
That says all security personnel have been instructed to exercise maximum tolerance to ensure the safety of the people and to maintain the peaceful and orderly elections. Puni Rizal, CNN Philippines.
With vote count second placer Lenny Robredo still in the running and other candidates already conceding, what does a Marcos lead in the unofficial presidential count mean? We go above and beyond the headlines with political analyst Michael Yusibo. Michael, thank you very much for being with us on the show. Let's begin with this. Also, complex transparency server results showing BBM's very huge lead over VP Lenny. PPCRD's quick count, 97% of the ERs are in, and reflecting the complex count, BBM mounting that very huge lead again over Lenny. And also PPCRD expected to finish their comparison of the hard copy of the fourth copy of the ER with the digital transmission copy, and they expect that things are going to match now. With all of that, results so far, less than 24 hours after the polls closed. What do you think is going to happen next? No? Because you have Lenny supporters very, how should I say, very angry about what has happened.
First of all, good evening, Ian, and thank you for having me in your show, in your program. To answer your question directly, I'm not actually looking at the response of the supporters of VP Lenny. I think it's a natural reaction for them to be angry. It's a natural reaction for them to try to make their anger heard. But I'm looking at actually, I'm more concerned about what steps the new administration will be taking in the next couple of days. Because that's where the real work begins, right? Mm-hmm. That's where our love for country will be tested as we observe or hold the new administration to account. So I'm looking at, I'm eagerly anticipating who will be forming the cabinet, who will be placed in integral positions like the DILG and the DBM. And also I have major concerns about the independence of Congress, given the fact that it will be dominated by political dynasties. Now, it has always been dominated by political dynasties, but this time around it seems that it's now a dynasty on super steroids, no? Because even the Senate now will be filled up with political dynasties. So those are the two major concerns that I have concerning the administration, the incoming administration.
All right, I understand your point about this dynasty and super steroids. However, Congress has never, the House of Representatives has never really been independent of any president in any post-Marcos presidency, di ba? You can have the independent Senate, but the House of Representatives, no matter what they say, always was allied with the president.
That's right. No? So the House of Representatives is actually the barometer of what we call the supermajority, right? If the president gets more, the House, it seems that he will have or she will have a supermajority. But the concern now is that the Senate, which you correctly said earlier, usually is the independent voice in our government, right? But based on the results that we're seeing now, it appears that the Senate will, or most likely will, shed that independent streak, given the new members that are going to be part of, or who are already part of SEs. So that's a major concern, actually. That's a major concern, especially if we think about the possibility of changing the Constitution, right? Because given who our president is, carrying that baggage the 1973 Constitution, we will always be wary that will be repeated. So, with the development in the Senate, possibly losing their ability to be the independent voice, charter change becomes really a source of concern.
Okay, we're gonna wait for what's going to happen on that front. But I wanted to ask you, you said you wanted to, parang binabantayan mo, you're very curious about what cabinet appointments are going to be made. Let's try and, you might want to say, who is it that you'd like to see in the cabinet? Mr. Marx has said that, he talks about unity. There's this talk about, that's been going around in the last few weeks that he's going to be reaching out to different political persuasion groups, and try and put together a cabinet that really looks like a unity cabinet. Who do you want to see there?
First, Pia, I don't want to see relatives of the president in the cabinet, no? So let's put that out right away. We don't want to see relatives. We don't want to see close friends in the cabinet. We want to make sure that the people that are appointed to positions of critical importance are qualified. So if we look at the DILG, which is very critical because of the implementation of the Mandanas decision and also Executive Order 138, we want somebody there who has expertise in decentralization, who has expertise in specifically in fiscal decentralization, so that this time around, our second shot at decentralizing the way we govern ourselves will work. Will work for the benefit of all of us. And the same with DBM, because again, because of the importance of the implementation of the Mandanas decision, we would like somebody there who is more attuned to the demands and the nuances of fiscal decentralization. So that to me is an example of what I want, or at least what we want to see in the cabinet. People who are there not because of their close relationship to the president, but because they have the expertise to do the job.
Michael, we'll have you back on the show in the very near future. There's still a lot to talk about. Thank you very much for being with us on the show tonight. Political analyst Michael Yusinko there. Still, in our special election coverage, some of Bongbong Marcos's rivals throw in the towel. What are their plans after their failed presidential bids? And several Metro Manila mayors getting another term in office. Stay tuned to this special edition of Newsnight.
Precious jewel, Ruby, marry me.
For eyesight and ruin your love story. Come to EO Executive Optical for state-of-the-art facilities, expert eye care, affordable eyewear.
Wow, Ruby!
EO, love your eyes.
Mukhang magkakasubukan na naman tayo
Pinarayo na po ng Bagyong Ulysses ang malaking bahagi ng
Mas
Luzon.
maraming panglugar ang posibleng maapektuhan ng El Niño.
Naitala sa Tagupan City noong Sabado ang pinakamataas na heat index.
Mukhang subukan. Matinding init man yan o malakas na bagyo. Hindi mo kayang vulkasibo. Vulkasibo. Para sa akin, ito ang tibiyang subok ng panahon.
Pahit mo ito, hindi ba yan? Bossing, 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 bossing. El Capitan, El Supremo. Samahan ng mga palaban, El General
Yossi, palaban!
You're watching a special edition of Newsnight on CNN Philippines. We're going to get first the latest numbers from Comlex Transparency Server as of 6:02 in the evening. Marcos has 31,024,013 votes. Robredo, 14,786,224. Pacquiao, 3,625,703. Isko Moreno, 1,885,821, and Ping Lacson, 880,548. They're followed by Faisal Mangundato, Ernie Abella, Yodi de Guzman, Bert Gonzalez, and Jose Montemayor. In the vice presidential race, it is still Sara Duterte on top with 31,469,327 votes. Pangilinan, 9,209,982 votes. Tito Soto, 8,171,263 votes. Willie Ong, Lito Atienza, Manny Lopez, Walden Bello, Carlos Serapio, and Lito David follow. In the meantime, presidential candidate Yodi de Guzman has conceded defeat after unofficial results show he is trailing behind in the elections. De Guzman slipped to the second to the last spot with over 91,000 votes. The Labor leader did not hide his dismay about the vote count frontrunner Bongbong Marcos.
Nalulungkot ako dahil ayaw ko manalo si Marcos eh. Kasi biro mo naman puro political dynasty ang mga nagkakasama. Di ba? Lahat ng mga kasama niya sa unity ay puro proven na walang ginawa sa bansa. Pwede naman kaming makiisa doon sa mga, kung magkakaroon ng movement na para doon sa kung makakapagpakita ng klarong mga ebidensya at hindi makukumbinsi sa paliwanag ng COMELEC doon sa naging kondukta ng eleksyon ngayon.
The Lacson-Soto tandem has also accepted defeat in the race for the two top posts. Senator Ping Lacson said he will go home to serve his family for a change, while his running mate, Senate President Tito Soto, respects the, quote, will of the people. The partial tally shows Lacson in 5th place and Soto in 3rd. Faisal Mangundato and Carlos Serapio joined the candidates conceding to the Marcos-Duterte tandem. Mangundato ranks 6th in the unofficial results, while Serapio is in far 8th. The two congratulated their rivals, Marcos and Duterte, who said they obtained the people's mandate. Isko Moreno, who is currently 4th in the initial presidential tally, also admitting defeat to Marcos. Joining us live now from Manila is Paulo Barcelon with the latest from the Moreno campaign. Paulo.
Well, Pia Moreno basically thanked his supporters and recognized the impending victory of his political rival. Moreno even went far as to call Mr. Marcos and Mrs. Duterte Carpio, quote, President-elect and Vice President-elect, unquote. Now, we will have to wait until both houses of Congress, sitting as the National Board of Canvassers, will proclaim Marcos and Duterte before we can officially call them President-elect and Vice President-elect. Now, Moreno also rallied on his supporters to unite behind the incoming administration.
Kailangan natin magkaisa, tulungan ang bagong pinili ng ating mga kababayan. Opo, kailangan natin magtagumpay pare-pareho. Hindi po magtatagumpay si President-elect Ferdinand Marcos Jr. at si Vice President-elect Sara Duterte at 10 na mga senador na napili at mga kongresista o halal ng bayan kung tayo mga mamamayan ay hindi makikisa. Binabati ko ang pamilya ni dating Senador Ferdinand Marcos sa pagpili sa kanya ng higit na nakararami sa ating mga kababayan na maging hahalinhin bilang Pangulo ng bansa. Congratulations po sa inyo.
Pia, this is a drastic departure from what Moreno described, or from Moreno describing issues against Marcos, including the Marcos family's 203 billion peso estate tax that, or which Marcos can't claim as just black propaganda. Moreno also referenced Marcos heavily during his campaign with the term pulahan or red. It is a color long identified with the Marcoses and the very same color Bongbong Marcos used in his presidential campaign. He had this narrative, Pia, of offering himself as an alternative to what he calls pulahan and yellow pink politics, the latter obviously a reference to Vice President Leni Robredo, but it appears that at least in the partial and unofficial results we are seeing, that messaging did not resonate as Marcos is currently leading. Now, Moreno is the second sitting Manila mayor to have ran for and lost the presidential race, the other being the late former Mayor Alfredo Lim, who tried his chances and also failed during the 1998 elections. Pia.
So, Paolo, what are Isko Moreno's plans now?
Well, he said during that address earlier, Pia, on Facebook Live that he intends to be a citizen Isko. And he's long said during our many ambush interviews with him that he plans to spend his time with his family, having spent more than 2 decades in public service. Pia.
Paolo Barcelon, they're reporting from Manila. Re-electionist mayors are dominating local polls in Metro Manila. Tristan Odalo explains why this comes as no surprise for at least one political analyst.
Familiar names in the local political scene get a fresh term in Metro Manila. In vote-rich Quezon City, Mayor Joy Belmonte is poised to get a second term, defeating her closest rival, Mike Defensor. Over the course of the campaign period, Belmonte put the spotlight on the city's COVID-19 response and how Defensor killed the franchise of the broadcast giant ABS-CBN.
Noong 2019, first time ko na makaranas ng medyo madumi yung politika. So medyo naapektuhan pa ako noon. Pero ngayon wala na talaga. So ang aking lesson dito is just focus on the job.
In Pasig City, it's a landslide victory for incumbent Mayor Vico Soto with over 300,000 votes against his rival and current Vice Mayor Iyo Bernardo, who earned over 45,000 votes.
Tuloy-tuloy lang ang pagbabago. Hindi naman talaga madali magpakilala ng pagbabago, lalo na yung paglilinis natin ng pamahalaan. Pero masasabi naman natin, malaki na yung napagtagumpayan natin.
Manila Vice Mayor Hani Lacuna makes history as the first female mayor of the nation's capital. Makati Mayor Abby Binay wins her third term with over 317,000 votes. Binay's proclamation was slightly delayed due to defective VCMs and SD cards. Marikina Mayor Marcy Teodoro also won against former Congressman Bayani Fernando. Mayor Ike Ponce also secured another term in the lone municipality of Pateros. San Juan Mayor Francis Zamora was also re-elected after defeating the Estrada Ejercito family in 2019. Pasay City Mayor Emmy Calixto Rubiano got another fresh mandate. Incumbent Mayor Oscar Malipitan is also leading the race in Caloocan. An analyst says that being an incumbent is an advantage in local polls, and their performance during the COVID-19 pandemic played a big part in their victory.
You have a pandemic, you have incumbency advantage, so ibig sabihin you have the resources, and then you've had this opportunity to be able to instill in your constituents that you are the safe choice.
Family members of sitting officials managed to secure posts in some Metro Manila cities. Congresswoman Lani Cayetano returns as Taguig City Mayor. John Ray Chanco will succeed his brother, incumbent Navotas Mayor Toby Chanco, while Representative Eric Olivares, the brother of Parañaque Mayor Edwin Olivares, is elected as the next mayor. The same goes with Congressman Wes Gatchalian, who will replace his brother Rex in Valenzuela.
Kung okay sa national mag-elect ng mga anak, ng mga asawa, ng mga magkakapatid, what more sa local?
Incumbent officials already know the tried and tested formula in winning the local elections according to some political analysts. But it remains to be seen on when Filipino voters can actually look beyond personalities and political dynasties. Tristan Odalo, CNN Philippines.
The world was watching when Filipinos cast their ballots. Australian ambassador to the Philippines, Stephen Robinson, congratulates the country for holding national elections, adding that Australia looks forward to working with the next democratically elected officials. The same message of congratulations from the European Union in a post the EU delegation to the Philippines commending the nation for, quote, conducting a peaceful, free and fair democratic elections. It also looks forward to working with the next administration and fostering closer bilateral relations. The May 9 polls have also made world headlines with a number of international news outlets reporting on Marcos's lead in the presidential race. The New York Times, The Guardian, and BBC tackling the Marcos's possible return to national power. Articles also recapping events under martial law in 1972 imposed by the elder Marcos. Other outlets like Forbes talked about how the tally so far has influenced currency and the market, with the peso up and stocks down. Now, all over social media from yesterday until today, reactions to the vote count so far. Let's take a look at some of the trending topics online. Leading Senate hopeful Robin Padilla topped Twitter trends earlier. Some netizens dismayed, saying he lacks qualifications for the post. Now, should he win, or, well, the rankings show that he is number one, this will be the actor's first position in government. Others came to Padilla's defense, saying he could become one of the country's few Muslim senators. EDSA also trended, with netizens talking about another people power revolution should Marcos win the presidency. But some oppose the idea, calling on others to respect the result of the elections. As of reporting, the top 10 trending topics on Twitter in the country are all election-related. Now, updates in sports, just 1 day left until UP and Ateneo meet again for Game 2 of the UAAP Men's Basketball Finals. The crucial match is set tomorrow, 6 p.m. at the Mall of Asia Arena in Pasay. Now, if the Fighting Maroons win, it will be their first UAAP championship in 36 years. UP took Game 1 on Sunday, 81-74. And the women's national football team dominated Cambodia in their first match at the Southeast Asian Games in Vietnam. The Filipinas won yesterday's game 5-0. Up next for the squad is a face-off with fellow World Cup first-timer Vietnam tomorrow. Here's a first look at the highly anticipated Avatar sequel and more stories from Alicia Stanford in the Hollywood Minute.
The wait is over, and at long last we're getting the first glimpse of the Avatar sequel, Avatar: The Way of Water.
I know one thing. Wherever we go, this family. Is our fortress. We want to know.
What's going on is the Tony nominations are out, and A Strange Loop leads the way with 9 nominations, including Best New Musical. The Pulitzer Prize-winning show follows a young artist at war with a host of demons who appear on stage with him as he attempts to capture and understand the strange loop taking place in his head. Broadway stars Adrian Warren and Joshua Henry helped make the announcements via video streaming. The 75th Tony Awards will take place June 12th at Radio City Music Hall and will be hosted by Oscar winner Ariana DeBose.
Watch your back, Phoenix.
We gotta move, Coyote!
Who are your friends? Stay back. Fanboy.
What do they call you?
Bob? No, your call sign. Bob. Literally.
Now you too can get your own Top Gun call sign. To help build excitement for the release of Top Gun Maverick, Paramount Pictures has put together a quick interactive website that will help you generate your own moniker. Just go to www.whatsmycallsign.com to get your own. Top Gun Maverick opens in theaters May 24th. In Hollywood, I'm Alicia Hardshell Stanford.
And before we go, here are the numbers as of 6:17 tonight. They are unchanged. Bongbong Marcos still leading with more than 31 million votes. Lenny Robredo is in number 2 and Manny Pacquiao number 3. They're followed by Moreno, Lacson, Mangudato, Abella, De Guzman, Gonzalez, and Montemayor. In the VP race, still the same, unchanged. Sara Duterte number 1 with more than 31 million votes. Kiko Pangilinan a far second with 9.2 million votes. They're followed by Tito Soto, Willie Ong, Lito Atienza, Lopez, Bello, Serapio, and David. And that is it for now. Join me again on Politics as usual at 8 p.m. I'm Pio Ontiveros. Thank you for watching a 1-hour special edition of Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
Mas pinalakas, RPN sa iba't ibang mga lalawigan. DZRL Bataan, DZBS Baguio, DZKI Iriga, DYKB Bacolod, DYKC Cebu, DXKS Surigao, DXKD Dipolo, DXKO Cagayan de Oro, DXKT